Joe Kissell introduces Take Control Live, Taming Big Tech. This is MacVoices. MacVoices is supported by NordLayer. Secure your network and stay compliant with a one-toggle-ready platform. Visit nordlayer.com/MacVoices and use the code MacVoices10 for an extra 10% off yearly subscriptions. MacVoices is supported by MacPaw, the makers of Clean My Mac, your ultimate solution for Mac control and care. Try Clean My Mac for 7 days free, then use the code MacVoices20 for 20% off at cleanmy.com/MacVoices. That's CLNMY.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it seems like we just talked to Joe Kissell because we just talked to Joe Kissell not very long ago. And you've seen that interview in the feeds talking about take control of contacts. This time, though, Joe is back with something brand new, or as far as I know, it's pretty darn brand new, Joe.
Yeah, sort of ish. It's complicated. I'll explain it, but yes. Today, I'm going to be talking about a thing that is not a book. This is called Take Control Live, and we'll get into that. Take Control Live, Taming Big Tech is the thing that we're going to talk about today.
Okay, that's so.
Sorry.
So Take Control Live, Taming Big Tech is not a book.
Is not a book. That's right. So let's go back in time to 2012, December 2012. In fact, I was packing up my apartment in Paris, getting ready to move to San Diego, and in the midst of all of that, we tried something. This is, of course, way back when Adam and Tanya were running Take Control. We tried something that seemed like an interesting area to explore. We had done a lot of books, of course, and I had done a book about working with your iPad. This is, the iPad was still fairly new at that point, and we had written a few books on using iPads, and my particular book was on getting actual productive work done. And so we'd had a number of revisions of this book, and I was working on yet another revision because the iPad was evolving so quickly. And I kept getting stuck as I was writing this because I'm like, I can't just explain this in words. It would be like 100 times better if you could see this. Watch what my fingers do on the screen. So they're just things that are way easier shown than explained. And I was just like, if only I could demonstrate this live instead of just take a screenshot and then another screenshot and then another screenshot. So Adam and Tanya and I came up with this idea to do something that we called Take Control Live. And our very first topic was working with your iPad. So we did 4 live video sessions. People would buy a ticket, and that would entitle them to join us for these 4 live sessions. And I had this whole setup. I had a jailbroken iPad, so which at that time, this is what you had to do to show what I was tapping on the screen and feed that into my Mac. And so I talked about a lot of these, work-related topics, but then I actually showed what I was doing on the screen. And then people who were watching this live would ask questions that I would answer in real time. I would say, oh, I'm glad you asked. Here, let's open up this and let's tap this and let's do these things. And of course, we recorded all of these things, all the live videos. So if anyone wanted to rewatch or they weren't able to make one of the live sessions, they could go back and watch the videos. In those days, 2012, 2013, we were using Google Hangouts because that was that was a thing back then, um, and it was pretty. Enough people signed up for this that it was well worth our time to do, and the response was pretty good. But um, it also wasn't like such a runaway success that we were immediately motivated to do more of these. And that idea just sort of fell away, and we went back to doing books. And in recent years, I thought, I wonder if we might bring back a more modern version of Take Control Live. And so that's just been kicking around for a long time. Like, first of all, I'd have to have the time to do all the infrastructure work, which is a lot, but I'd also need a good topic. So now I have a good topic. Along with, see if you can resurrect Take Control Live one of these days. Another one of the things on my to-do list for years, I mean, I don't know, 5-6 years, I've had on my to-do list. We really ought to have a Take Control book about how to get off of Facebook. We'll talk a little bit about, like, Facebook has had, a lot of shenanigans. Let's use that word. Meta has done some things that are not so great, and so there's been a lot of public interest in this topic. Well, like, okay, I'd like to leave Facebook, but how would I do that because of all these complications? So I thought, well, I ought to write a book about that. But I kept noticing more things that were like that. People will say, oh, look what Google's up to now. Look what Microsoft is up to now. Look what fill in the blank some other big tech company is up to now. I sure wish I could stop using this company's products and services, but there's this complication or a bunch of complications. So I started thinking, well, maybe this isn't a book about Facebook. This is a broader book about big tech. And then back when we did our holiday gift guide, I recommended Cory Doctorow's book, Enshittification. And I read it, and like I've known about the sins of big tech for a really long time. I mean, I've written books on security and online privacy, and like none of this is fundamentally surprising to me. But even I learned things. I'm like, you're kidding. They do that too? They did this? What? And it caused me some soul searching. Like, all right, knowing what I now know, do I actually feel okay about continuing to buy stuff from Amazon? Obviously, Amazon, another one of these big tech companies. And it's, to be clear, it's not that I have no trouble with big companies. I have no trouble with technology. I have, I like money as much as everybody else does. It's not the bigness of the company that's the issue. It's not the fact that there's technology involved. It's the fact that certain companies in the technology world get so big that they feel like they don't have to follow any rules. They don't have to care about human beings, customers, employees, vendors, contractors, or the general public. And they keep finding, ways to make our lives worse, while at the same time keeping us addicted to their stuff so that it's harder and harder for us to get away. And so it's just kind of the snowball effect of, well, I'm kind of stuck using whatever it is. And all right, well, they're going to raise my prices now, or they're going to do worse things with privacy now, or they're going to make things more complicated in whatever way. But what can I do? So the more I thought about this, the more I realized this was a great topic for Take Control Live. This is the kind of topic where I can show you what is happening on my various screens, and not just talk about how to deal with some of these issues, but show you. And then somebody's going to say, okay, yeah, but what about this? And I'll be like, okay, let's find out. Let's go into this app. Let's go into these settings. Let's go to this website, go around and see what we can do to solve this problem. So that's what's happening. Take Control Live, Taming Big Tech is going to be 4 hour to hour and a half long sessions, which will include a question and answer period, all recorded so that if you can't attend the live sessions or you want to rewatch later, no problem. And it is going to be interactive. So I will have my spiel. I mean, I'm not winging this. This is scripted, and I will have all the demos on my various screens set up, ready to show you. And I will show you Mac OS, Windows, iOS, Android. It's all ready to go. I will tell you what I have to tell you, and I will show you what I have to show you. But also, I will invite questions live, and there is a whole discussion forum associated with this course. So you can ask questions as we go. Maybe I will just be able to, type in an answer and that's done. Or maybe I'm like, I better add something about that to lesson 3 or something like that. So I'm trying to take this topic, which I know is just really vexing a lot of people, and make it interactive so that I can address the parts of it that particular people are wondering about. And you may be wondering about things that I wasn't wondering about. So in a nutshell, that's what we're doing.
Okay, this sounds really interesting. And I love the fact that you're taking on a topic like the one or ones you just described, because it does feel like those are prime for not a discussion, a Q&A kind of thing, as opposed to the last discussion you and I had was about contacts. And, okay, so this is how you add a contact. This is how you delete a contact. Fine. That you can do that in screenshots. But for stuff like this, it does require a little bit. Maybe I want to ask you, what are the implications of me making this particular choice in this particular setting? Because that applies to me and not everybody else. So I like this a lot.
I in my travels and my professional life, I encounter a lot of different attitudes toward big tech. I know some people who are just like 100% all in on Google. They are Google everything. Not just like Google, the search engine, but Google Docs and Sheets and, Google Maps and Google Translate and Google Photos and like the whole long, there's like 100 things, whole long list of Google services. They want to have Google everywhere. And they just think Google is the best thing since sliced bread. And of the people who I know who are like that, there are those who are like, I am somewhat aware of bad things Google might be doing with my data in exchange for offering me all this stuff for free, but I really don't care very much. And then there are other people who are just like, no, I'm not listening, I'm not watching, I don't know, so there's a rule. Okay? And the same thing could be said of whatever, your favorite social networking platform, or, Adobe or Netflix, or there's a super long list. And what I wish I could do is say, okay, everybody, here's the plan. We are going to get ourselves completely off of Facebook. We are not going to let Meta see or touch any of our data. And then we're going to do the same thing for Google. And then we're going to do the same thing for Microsoft. And then we're going to do the same thing for, go through the list. That's what I wish I could do. And, if you are absolutely intent on de-Googling your life, it is possible, and there are resources out there to help you with that. My feeling is for most of us, we are going to hit a roadblock sooner or later that prevents us from being able to completely excise these companies from our lives. I mean, let's talk about Apple, right? Okay, so this is MacVoices for Apple users. Now, Apple is obviously a big tech company. Apple is also, I'm just going to say, not completely blameless. All right. Now we think Apple is comparatively like more virtuous than most of the other big tech companies. We think Apple has a better privacy story. But there are also things that that I really have problems with that Apple does, and I'm not just talking about how they can't figure out how to update the Contacts app, but like there are things that they do as a corporation that I'm like, this makes me uncomfortable. But look, I can say the same thing about Microsoft, and I can say the same thing about Google. So if I wanted to not have any Apple or Google or Microsoft operating systems, boy, like I can do it. Me personally, I know how to do that. I am completely comfortable with Linux. I know where I can buy a phone that runs Linux and not Android or iOS. I can get a Linux computer. Like for me personally, I could do it. It would be quite a hassle. It would be quite involved. For people who are not computer geeks, I mean, it's just, it would be hopeless. Like there is no way that you can completely avoid these big tech companies. So I don't want to take the kind of approach of like, it's either all or nothing, either you get out completely or you are a bad person. No, like that's just silly. I want to show you what the problems are, what the risks are, how to mitigate the risks, and how you can sort of strategically replace the products and services that you can realistically with things that are do not make you beholden to the big tech companies. So I want to be humane about this. I want to be a little more nuanced than just like get out of this all day. I mean, like in an ideal world, yes, I wish I could tell you just stop using all of them. But then what's going to happen is like there will be something that you need to do. Like there will be a product that you need to buy that is literally only sold on Amazon and nowhere else. Somebody will say, I'm sharing this document with you and it's a Google Doc, and you're not going to be able to get them to use some other system for sharing that document. Or whatever, pick a company, pick a product. You're not a lone wolf. Okay. So it's not like something that you can completely decide for yourself, because you have to interact with other people too. So I want to just respect that and say, do what you can. And you might be surprised at how much you can do. And so that's really kind of the attitude with which I'm approaching this is, okay, but what actually can we do here? It might be more than you think.
Well, first of all, this is all like music to my ears, because how many times have you and I done interviews and I always have to bring up the security issue, security and privacy issue. You're taking it a step or two farther than that. And I really respect that. And I feel like what I heard in there, not only are you going to help me find the alternatives, instead of just saying, well, this is bad, don't do it. And then I'm left, well, then, like, how do I get my, my stuff that I would normally get from Amazon? So you're going to help me do that. But you're also going to make me aware of the, I hate to say costs, but the costs of doing business with certain companies under certain circumstances. And then it's up to me as to am I comfortable paying that price or not?
Yeah, that's right. And I feel like what we imagine the pain will be in switching to a new way of doing things is more than it really is. So a couple of months ago, 2-3 months ago, I just sort of decided, unless I literally have no other choice, I'm not going to buy anything from Amazon anymore. And I did not take this decision lightly, because I have placed thousands of orders from Amazon. I mean, I have bought so much stuff from them, and they're fast, they're usually inexpensive, they're convenient. But I'm like, okay, this is actually how you are treating your delivery drivers. This is how you're treating the people working in your warehouses. This is how you treat small businesses that use Amazon to sell their stuff. It's just, the more I learn, the more appalled I am, and I don't feel good ethically about supporting them. So I had to break that habit of, I need to buy something, immediately go on to Amazon. Well, actually, 99% of the time, there are other places to get that thing. And I might have to pay a little more for shipping. I might have to wait another day or two. But nearly always, there is another solution to that problem. And the same thing is true with Google products and services and Microsoft and all the rest. So I want to kind of, I really want to approach this from the standpoint of offering hope. I had this problem, and I looked into, okay, what can I do about this? Is the thing that I need to do, installing a better ad blocker. Okay, well, that's an idea that can solve a lot of problems, and that's something that you ought to do. Okay, well, but there are a million ad blockers. Which one should I use? And what if it doesn't do this in this place or that in that place? So, oh boy, just wait till I mean, we're going to cover this today, but like in the course, we're going to get to some really complicated stuff, like, well, okay, you've got an Apple TV and you're watching YouTube on your Apple TV, but YouTube is showing you ads that you don't want to see. And all of those ad blockers that you can use on your Mac or your PC don't actually work on an Apple TV. So what do you do there? I'll tell you what to do. It's a little weird, but it can be done. So that kind of thing. Not all problems have perfect solutions, but I feel like with a little bit of effort and a lot of knowledge, you can do some pretty amazing things.
Clean My Mac by MacPaw supports MacVoices, and it can help keep your Mac running the way you need it to. We all know the feeling. Your Mac starts to slow down, storage gets tight, or something doesn't quite seem right. But stopping to figure out what needs attention can take time you don't have. That's where Clean My Mac's Smart Care feature comes in. Smart Care gives you a fast, convenient way to scan your Mac and address multiple optimization tasks at once. It looks for system junk, unnecessary files, potential threats, performance issues, and other items that may be holding your Mac back. Instead of digging through menus or guessing what to clean, Smart Care brings those recommendations together so you can review them and take action with a click. That means you can free up space, help improve performance, and keep your Mac better maintained without interrupting your workflow. Whether you're editing video, recording a podcast, managing files, or just trying to get through a busy day, Clean My Mac helps your Mac stay ready. Clean My Mac is Apple notarized and designed specifically for the Mac. Try Clean My Mac free for 7 days at cleanmy.com/MacVoices and use the code MacVoices20, all caps, for 20% off. Get tidy today. Try 7 days free with my code MacVoices20 in all caps for 20% off at CleanMy, also in all caps, CLNMY.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Clean My Mac for supporting MacVoices. NordLayer is supporting MacVoices, and if you run a business, secure access should be at the top of your priority list. Your team needs to reach company resources from the office, from home, on the road, and from all kinds of networks. But every new connection can be a new point of risk. NordLayer helps you create a secure network environment that is simple for your team to use and easier for you to manage. With NordLayer, secure access can be one toggle ready. That means your people can connect to the tools and information they need, while your business keeps control over who gets access, from where, and under what conditions. It's designed to help protect company data, support compliance efforts, and reduce the risks that come with remote and hybrid work. Instead of making security feel complicated, NordLayer helps you make it part of your everyday workflow. Your team gets the access they need, your business gets stronger protection. MacVoices viewers and listeners get an exclusive offer, up to 22% off NordLayer yearly plans, plus 10% on top with the coupon code MacVoices10. Try it risk-free, 14-day money-back guarantee at nordlayer.com/MacVoices. And again, the coupon code MacVoices10. Thanks to NordLayer for supporting MacVoices. I hesitate to bring this up, but I'm going to.
All right.
Because you just mentioned the ethic. You used the word ethics, ethical ethics.
Yeah.
And so are you prepared to address political issues or political feelings about some of these things? Because I can see this going in that direction very quickly.
Well, I want to tread carefully here.
You and me both.
I have my feelings and my beliefs and my convictions, and I'm sure that some of our audience shares them and others do not. I have tried to remain relatively neutral on political topics in my work life, because I don't feel like it's good business to alienate anybody. You know, I'm well, you can't buy this book if you voted for so and so or whatever. Like, you know, if your feelings about a topic are different from mine, that's okay. We can still be friends. We can disagree. When you get into things like social media, all right. So look, everybody knows that the billionaires own some of these big tech companies. We all know about Jeff Bezos. We all know about Mark Zuckerberg. We all know about Elon Musk, and so on. And some people have like really strong views about those people and about, you know, let's just say billionaires as a concept. And views like those could be a motivating factor for wanting to stop using these services. And if so, hey, you know, fine. I think there are plenty of reasons to consider not using those services besides your views about the owners. But you know, there will be a few moments where some comments are necessarily made to give context to a topic, but I'm not even remotely trying to persuade anyone of any particular political position or belief. The whole essence of this course is, look, I'm not your mother. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not a preacher. I'm not trying to convert you. You know, I am here simply to lay out the facts and to give you options. And you can believe me or not. You can take the steps or not. That's up to you. And so I'm not here to set you against a product or company or person. But I mean, I'm going to say, look, here are the facts. Go read these articles. Go look at this news story. Go whatever read this book. Read about the situation yourself. Draw your own conclusions. And if, having done that, you decide this thing isn't for you, all right, I'll tell you how to get out of that.
Knowing you, that's exactly the position I would expect you to take. That, you know, it's going to be more factual than anything. But I feel like, you know, you've got to bring it up and just hit it head on, because otherwise somebody's going to say, well, but Joe believes this, or Joe's advocating for that, or Joe wants to run for this office or that office, which Did you want to announce a candidacy, Joe?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So
look, I think, yeah, no, we're not even going to go there.
yeah,
But
okay. Oh,
yeah, no, continue. Please continue.
yeah. Well, no. So again, I'm not surprised, but I did want to get it out there just so that people kind of know absolutely what to expect. Because I don't hear you being judgmental. I hear you being potentially opinionated, but we all are opinionated. Sure. So it's one thing to be opinionated. It's another one to be passing judgment, or worse, trying to convince me that you're right, as opposed to just laying it out and saying, "Here, you make the decision."
Yeah, I am definitely opinionated, but I kind of got out of the proselytizing business a few decades ago, and that's true whether you're talking about politics, religion, or computing platforms. Like I discovered a long time ago that I completely suck at trying to convince anyone of anything, and I don't enjoy it. It's like I don't enjoy having arguments about why I'm more right and you're more wrong. And my experience has been, the more I argue, whether I am simply presenting facts or whether I'm kind of emotionally arguing, the more I argue, the more other people kind of dig into their existing position, whatever that may be, and that just doesn't help. So I will be happy to tell anyone my own story and why I reached the decisions that I did, and then why I later changed my mind because I learned something else, that kind of thing. But I'm not here to push an agenda. And I have to say, that very fact irritates some of my customers, because look, people write to me and they say things like, "Oh, thank God somebody's covering this, because I really hate, company whatever, and I think they should just be nuked from space, and give them hellfire." And I'm like, maybe personally, I don't necessarily completely disagree with that, but also this is, I'm not standing on a soapbox here. This is not a, like, waving big signs and trying to get you to, go out and boycott some company or whatever. It's just not, it's not about that. And that was one of the things, when I was reading Enshittification, one of one of the selling points was, what all the bad things that the big tech companies are doing, and then what can be done about that. And I was really disappointed in that last portion of the book, which is what can be done to solve this, because it was all about, well, if only this law were passed, or this regulation were passed, or this union did this thing, or there were a popular uprising that resulted in this chain of events. Like, okay, well, that's all well and good, but you haven't told me what I personally can do today to improve my privacy, or to not see so many ads, or to make things easier like they used to be rather than more complicated like they've become now, or to lower my costs of subscriptions. I mean, that's going to be a whole topic in this course. Holy cow, the kinds of things we all pay money for month after month after month. It's the software, it's a streaming service, it's the cloud service, it's the heated seat in your car, or whatever the thing is. Like, it's gotten ridiculous. And again, I'm not the sort of person to say all software subscriptions are wrong or evil. I don't believe it. There are services and apps that I subscribe to cheerfully, that I am very, very happy to give these people my money, because I'm getting something really valuable in return, and I don't feel like I'm being taken advantage of. Then, something will happen, like a streaming company, a streaming service will say, "Hey, guess what? We're raising our rates yet again. But it's okay because we're also reducing the number of features. And sorry, but ads are now unskippable for everyone. So, like, there are limits to my patience and my budget. So, I want to talk about, like, hey, if you want to go lobby your government officials to try to get some legislation passed that will put big tech companies in their place in one respect or another, more power to you. That's fine. I don't object, but things get discussed and debated and watered down, and maybe 5 years from now, a very, very weak version of what you lobbied for actually happens. Meanwhile, you're still suffering. So this is totally focused on what you can practically do on your own devices with your own accounts to address some of these problems, even if all of the big tech companies remain just as evil as they are now.
Well, that's a great way to end it. I have to relate this story because when you were talking, it struck a nerve. But this has been a number of years ago. But I used to do business with a bank that was 10 minutes from my home, super convenient. And then one day I got an email it was a paper mail. That's how long ago it was. And they said, to better improve our service, we are reducing our lobby hours. Not we're increasing our driving hours or anything. Okay. So I canceled my account or closed my account. And they said, why? And I said, well, I don't mind that you're cutting the lobby hours. You probably have good reason to, but don't assume that I'm stupid. I'm sorry that now I've crossed into that emotional territory where, no. So I'm going to go do business. So I went to somewhere else that was a lot less convenient, but that they didn't treat me like I was stupid. So
for your convenience, we are raising our rates and reducing our services. Have a nice day.
Yep.
You've put me in mind of a number of years ago. I had a certain cellular carrier, and I'd been with them for a while, but I eventually got to the point where I realized that I was not entirely happy with their service, and that another carrier would give me better service that better met my needs at a cheaper price. So that's fine. I decided to switch, but you can't just say, "Hey, carrier, have a nice day. I'm canceling my account." No. They won't let you do that. You have to have a live phone call with a retention specialist whose job it is to persuade you to keep paying them money to not leave at any cost. And I have been through a few of these conversations in both English and French, by the way. And, and it's just, it's insulting to me. Like, I don't owe you an explanation for anything. If I decide I want to stop using your product or service, the only thing you should do is say, "It was nice having you, goodbye." And, forcing you, and this happens with, TV, cable providers, all kinds of stuff too. I went through this whole process. I got really angry on the phone, and I basically said, "No matter what you tell me, I am not going to change my mind. You offer me a special discount rate. Thank me for my loyalty. I don't care. I am done with you." And at the end of the day, the fact that they were so pushy about trying to get me to stay was, in fact, itself a reason to leave. I don't want to have a cell phone carrier or a whatever that won't let go. It's up to me. It's not up to them. So I would never go back to that particular carrier because now I know this. Now I've had that experience. And as it turns out, the one that I switched to when the time came that I had to drop them because I was moving to Canada, it was completely easy, straightforward, no questions asked. So now I feel better about the second choice that I made.
Yeah, we could go on and on because we both have hundreds of examples, just like everyone listening or watching this. It's not an uncommon thing, and it's frustrating, which may be a great segue into why you should be part of Take Control Live, Taming Big Tech. How about some specifics, Joe? Do we have dates? Do we have costs? All those questions.
We have all those things. So now you've opened up a can of worms, or two cans of worms, or a can of lots of worms. So let's talk about the dates first of all. So it was a little bit challenging to figure out when to hold these. So first of all, we have the time zone problem. Now, I'm here in central Canada, and we have customers, of course, all over North America. And there's only a few time zones in continental US. If you're going to go to, Hawaii, that's different. But I know we also have a lot of customers in the UK, in Central Europe, in South Africa, and I wanted to have some time of day that would accommodate as many people as possible. But I just keep spinning the globe, and I'm like, oh crap, we have a lot of customers in Australia and New Zealand too. There is literally no time of any day that could possibly work for anyone, in any part of the world. To say nothing of the fact that some people are going to be like, well, yeah, but I work at that time of that day, or I have whatever, it's impossible. You can't possibly win. So I had to make kind of my best guess at what times and dates would be most likely agreeable to the largest percentage of people in our audience, even knowing that I wouldn't be able to solve it for anyone. So the time of day, we can start with that. These are going to be held at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So that's 2 p.m. Eastern time. And of course, we have the conversions for, Greenwich Mean Time and Central Europe and whatever. I think that people in Australia and New Zealand are just not very likely at all to be awake at those hours. And I'm really sorry. But this is also part of why we are recording these episodes. So if you're like, well, I have a burning question about this topic that you're going to cover in this lesson, you can tell me about that in advance. I'll answer it if I can. And then you can still watch the video recording where I tell you what the answer was. So it's not as good as asking live, but it's an option for people who can't watch some or all of the live sessions for whatever reason. Well, then there's the day of the week. And so I'm like, well, should we do this on Tuesdays? Should we do it on Saturdays? Because again, there are going to be people, no matter what, there are going to be people who have school, who have work, who have something else. So I decided on Saturdays. So we're going to do this on 4 Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Which 4 Saturdays? Well, then I had to look at my calendar. And my original idea was we would do these on 4 consecutive weekends. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it would be beneficial for everyone to space them out just a little bit more. And because every time we have one of these lessons, I'm going to give you homework. It's not like, it's obviously optional, right? And I'm not going to grade your homework, but it's like, okay, here is what you can do to put into effect what we learned about in this class. So I want you to, would you please try this browser? And would you please try this search engine, or whatever the thing is? And maybe check these settings here and those settings there, and make sure that your privacy is locked down in this way and that way. So we're going to do this on Saturdays. Not so. I originally thought every week, and then I thought, okay, let's do every other week. So I started looking at Saturdays on my calendar. Like, okay, May 23rd. May 23rd. That's a good Saturday to start. So we're going to do the first one on May 23rd. That would give, like, we just launched the course, so I wanted for there to be a couple of weeks for people to learn about it and sign up for it before we actually start the live courses. So May 23rd, that gives us, a couple of weeks plus from when we launched. And then I thought, okay, what would every other week look like? And so, okay, 2 weeks from then, June 6th, great. 2 weeks from then, June 20th. 2 weeks from then, July 4th. July, it's totally fine for me. July 4th isn't a holiday in Canada, but we're going to have people from the United States who wouldn't be enthusiastic about that. So that last session will be postponed by 1 week to July 11th. So May 23rd, June 6th, June 20th, July 11th, 11 a.m. Pacific. And once again, if you can't join live, that's fine. You can sign up now. There will be stuff for you to read right now, an introductory video, a PDF that you might find very, very interesting, and the discussion forums you can participate in right now. And then after each session, you wait a little while for me to finish editing and uploading the video, and the recording will be available. Not only that, and yes, there will be homework assignments. Yes, there will be quizzes. But also, I'm going to give you a PDF each week that contains notes from that session. And no, they're not going to be AI-generated transcripts. They're going to be human-generated summaries and I mentioned this app and this app and this app. Here's the links. I mentioned these websites. Here's the links. Do you want to know more about this topic? Here's where you can go to find out more. So actual helpful information. And if people ask, questions that I feel like are very important to mention in that week's PDF, I will include those before I upload the PDF. So stuff like that. Now, before I move on to cost, any questions about the schedule?
No, not about the schedule. You did mention one thing, though, that I thought was interesting, and that is that you say there will be discussion forums. Do you mind sharing just a little more about that? Like what forums? Are they going to be on the Take Control website? Are you going to use one of the conferencing services? Because I see that as a really huge benefit to get a direct line to you and maybe to the other participants.
Right. So I'm glad you brought this up, because the one thing that we haven't really talked about yet, and it's kind of a big deal, is the platform we're using. So when I first had the idea to do Take Control Live, I naively thought, oh, we'll just slap this up on our own website, and there will we'll put videos there, and there will be click a link to join by Zoom, or how hard can it be? And then we'll just sell these courses directly through Paddle like we usually do. Did I mention the word naive? It turns out that, so there were a couple of problems. The first problem is Paddle, who we use for payment processing for our ebooks, was kind of not down with us selling live courses. They're like, if you're selling only pre-recorded video courses, that's fine, but we can't process payments for anything that has a live human element involved. All right. So now we got that problem to solve. And then, we're talking about a lot of video bandwidth, and I don't want our poor servers to melt under the pressure. And additional things I wanted to do, like the discussion forum, like the quizzes and all these other kinds of things. I'm like, well, I could code this from scratch, but a lot of work and a lot of time. So there, I did a lot of research on different platforms that were designed for people who conduct courses. And after looking at quite a few of them in detail, I decided to use a platform called Teachable, teachable.com. And Teachable is designed for exactly this purpose. You sell courses, and the courses can include live video. They can include pre-recorded video. They can include text, graphics, downloadable files, all kinds of different stuff. And when you purchase a course from Teachable, they handle the payment processing, so I don't have to worry about that. And they handle all of the sales taxes and things that just make me crazy. So again, don't have to worry about that. And they just had a lot of tools that, if I had to build them from scratch for our own website, would have taken me forever. So what's going to happen is you go to our site just like you normally would. Take Control Live, Taming Big Tech shows up like an ordinary product. You click, you buy. But when you click the buy button, you are taken to Teachable's site. That's where you check out. And you will create another account for Teachable. Or maybe, if you've signed up for some other course previously that is also on that platform, you can use that same set of credentials. That's fine. And then on that platform, that's where you will see the discussion forums. And look, they're discussion forums. They look and work like every other discussion forum in the world. There's categories, there are topics. You post something, people reply. It's really, really straightforward. If you've ever used any discussion forum, you will be perfectly at home with this one. But of course, it's only open to people who take the course. So direct access to me that way, as well as live in the course. And we've done a lot of work to integrate the Teachable platform with our own website. So it's not just I go to the Teachable site and I see the Take Control logo there. Isn't that nice? They're using sort of similar colors, and yeah. We do have the kind of some branding stuff, but also let's say that somebody we have Take Control Premium we've talked about in the past. Let's say somebody says to themselves, well, I was thinking about buying Take Control Premium at the same time as this course. But if I'm buying the course, I have to buy that from Teachable. So how would that work? Well, we figured that out. So if you buy a bundle on the Teachable site that includes Take Control Premium, their server sends a message to our server that says, hey, you have a new Take Control Premium member. And then we do all the stuff on our side so that when you come back to our site, you see all of your discounts and all that kind of stuff. So that is an example. We did a whole bunch of work to kind of integrate the two sites as well as we can. And it's not 100% perfect. It's not 100% seamless. And perhaps over time we can improve that, but it's pretty good. And I've completely lost the thread of what you even asked. I know we're going to get on to pricing, but did that cover whatever it was?
Yeah, I had touched on I'm glad we went there, because that's a great way to set the expectations. I had asked about what version of forums you were going to use, but you're going to use the Teachable forums. Right. So that's great. So now we have the big reveal of the price.
$1 million.
Yeah. I feel like I should be doing a Vanna White or something.
Yeah. All right. So it's $70. That's the short, quick, easy answer. But now I have to kind of contradict that a little bit. I have to say, yeah, but. So the first thing is, boy, I agonized over what to charge for this for months. I couldn't figure it out. Our ebooks cost at most $14.99. So I know that our customers are used to buying stuff from us for that price or less. And I knew that offering them something that was going to be more expensive than that was a little risky. And yet, you would not believe how much it costs me to be able to do this sort of thing. to get the tier of the Teachable plan that that had all the features we need is big bucks. And then also I had to increase my Zoom subscription to a much pricier plan. And then I had, okay, there's software, and there's the sheer time involved in preparing all these lessons and doing all the graphics and visuals, and the setup is, it is so much more work than an ebook. I can't even tell you. It is a huge amount of work. So I'm like there's just no way, we can't possibly afford to sell this for $15. We would never ever recoup our costs. So I went on to all these websites that are like, how much should you charge for your online course? And you plug in, well, how much video you have and how long the course is, and how, all these different parameters, what you offer, and it'll say, well, we think you should charge between this range and this range. And I was getting answers like, well, you should probably charge somewhere between $150 and $2,000 for this course. Like, oh yeah, I'll charge $2,000, and we'll have 3 people sign up for it if I'm very, very lucky. Because I know people do charge that much for courses, but it just, that doesn't make any sense for our audience. So I became pretty strongly convinced that something in the $130, $150 range was a good bargain for what we are doing. I mean, we're talking about 5+ hours of live video, plus the PDFs and the discussion forum and all the rest. I became convinced that was a good price. And I became equally convinced that the odds of more than a handful of people paying that were just terrible. So after all the many spreadsheets and soul searching, all this kind of stuff, I felt like $69.99 was a price that I could live with, and that I hoped a lot of our customers could also live with. But wait, maybe you don't have to spend $69.99, because if you're a Take Control Premium member, you can save 20%. Now, Take Control Premium members save 50% on our books, but Take Control Premium only costs $15. So if you could pay $15 to save $35, I don't think we would be able to stay in business very long. That math just kind of doesn't work out. So Take Control Premium members save 20%. That works out to $14. So if you buy Take Control Premium for $14.99, and you're already saving $14 on this course, plus 50% on all of our books for a year. I mean, I think that's a really good deal, but it was absolutely the highest discount I could go with. But if even that's not good enough, Teachable offers payment plans. Now, this is something we've never even thought about before, but Teachable is like, now, do you want to require that payments are done all at once, or do you want to, offer the option to split them over 2 or 3 months? I'm like, yes, that second one. Let's do that. So you have a choice. If you want to pay us the $69.99 or the $55.99 or whatever it turns out to be all at once, fine, that's great. Or if you would like to have 2 monthly payments of $35 or 3 monthly payments of $23.33, also fine. And of course, those numbers scale down if you're using the premium discount. So we're doing the very best we can to make it affordable and doable for everyone, whether or not you're a Take Control Premium member. And yes, it's more expensive than a book. I think it's worth more. And also, I would not be able to afford to do it if it were the same price as a book. So please help me feed my kids.
Yeah. Listen, I can speak from about 70% of your experience. People don't realize what some of the services cost. Do they deliver? Absolutely, they deliver. But again, you get what you pay for. So if you want to use a free tier of something, great. But you don't have all the options. You don't have the backup. You don't have the interaction. So I've anyone is going to say you're biased because you're talking to Joe. But I think that's a pretty good deal for 4 to 6 hours. Do I have the math right?
So
of content.
Just in terms of the timing, what I am kind of aiming for is about an hour of me talking and showing you stuff, followed by 15 to 30 minutes of questions and answers and demos. So I can't tell you exactly how long they're going to last, because I'm not sure exactly how long-winded I'm going to be or how many questions there will be. But I'm sort of expecting that each session will be between 75 and 90 minutes. So if we're on the low end of that, that's still 5 hours of live video.
Yeah. If you really want to know this stuff and everything that Joe just said, I want to know, then you're going to want to attend these sessions. The fact that they're recorded is also outstanding, because then I can go back and review them. To your point, if I have something on a particular Saturday, then I can't get in, I still have the opportunity to watch it. I still have the opportunity to interact on the discussion forums and to communicate with you directly there. No, I think that's a deal, Joe. That's great.
And Chuck, you inadvertently mentioned something very important.
Okay.
You said, like, well, if you're on the free tier, you get what you pay for. Well, as it turns out, that is going to be a recurring theme in this course. I have written before quite a lot about the curse of free and the fact that you do get what you pay for. There is the old adage we've all heard 1,000 times: if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. In fact, sometimes even if you are paying, you are still the product. But people are just shocked that I would pay for an email provider, shocked that I would pay for a search engine, shocked that I would pay for whatever, a word processor or a spreadsheet, when, well, there's Google Docs. Why would I actually pay money for something when there is a free version? It's because it's not really free. It's not really free. You are going to pay one way or another. And not only is there like the whole privacy thing, which is obviously a big deal, but the fact that you really do get what you pay for. And if you want the highest quality and the best user experience, most of the time, that is going to require some dollars. But I'm also going to tell you how you can save some money on all of your subscriptions. So maybe that'll kind of more than equal out.
No, I that was not a setup, folks, because I happen to believe that. That's one of the reasons that I choose some of the services that I do, is because I want to deliver more than a premium, more than a basic experience, and also because I don't want to make you the customer if unless absolutely necessary, and especially if you're not aware of it. So,
right.
Okay, so I go to takecontrolbooks.com. Is that, or is there a separate website or page?
Takecontrolbooks.com. You will see this course listed prominently. Bright green cover. And I didn't plan this. I'm just like, what color should we make this? I want to make it something that we don't already have, something that'll really stand out. So I'm like, okay, let's try a kind of green gradient. And I was recording the videos, like there's a trailer you can watch, and then an introduction video with the green screen. I have one of those. Okay. I was looking at me green screen, chroma keyed against this green background that I had for one of my slides, and I'm like, that actually it's green screen color. so the cover, the thumbnail graphic for this is kind of green screen colored, but. And I have to say too, we didn't even touch on the technology. Right now you're looking at me in my actual office with my actual books and my purple wall and my purple door. This is not what you will be seeing in the class. You're going to see something a lot spiffier. You'll get maybe a little taste of that if you watch the trailer on our site. But I have had to engineer for myself a fairly elaborate setup so that I can show you the right text, graphics, screen sharing from all these different platforms with the touch of a button and without having to look at the buttons. So, boy, that could be a whole interview in itself of how did I engineer that? But it's quite a thing.
I'm adding that to my list of after these sessions and after Joe has recovered, you will do a behind the scenes. But because knowing you, it's not. There are going to be some surprises on that it wouldn't be the things that any of us would normally. Yeah. So, okay. So let's do this again, Joe. The Take Control Live Taming Big Tech is $70 for 4 different sessions over consecutive Saturdays starting with May the 21st, did you say?
Yeah, so May 23rd, June 6th, June 20th, and July 11th. So there's 2 or 3 weeks between the Saturdays. And to be clear, it's not like $70 per session. No. It's $69.99 for the whole thing. You can pay over 2 or 3 months if you like. If you're a Take Control Premium member, you get 20% off.
Okay. So, folks, go to Take Control Books right now. Sign up. I'm going to, because at the very least, I want to see what Joe has to say and find out just how photogenic he really is. Joe, thank you so much. Thank you for all the detailed explanation. Of course. I really appreciate the fact, and I'm sure that the viewers and listeners do too, that you are being very transparent about all of this, about where it came from, what it takes to put it on, and what you want to deliver. So thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Folks, I will see you at Take Control Live, but also right back here on MacVoices one more time there, takecontrolbooks.com for Take Control Live, as well as all of the other books by Joe and all the other great Take Control authors. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.